Okay, so hear me out. The title is not clickbait, but there is a little bit of nuance to it, specifically when I'm talking about new players. The new in this situation are one of two people. You're either new into crafting and gathering in general, but you have beaten up to Endwalker, or you're new to just end game crafting in general. You want to be on level and you want to be crafting the new combat gear that's coming out in 7.2. Both of these situations of new players to the crafting and gathering scene, I truly believe that 7.2 and onward is shaping up to be the absolute best time to be a crafting and gathering enjoyer. At least compared to probably the peak times of Ishgardian Restoration, but even with some of the other changes, I think it might be better than even then. If you are new to this scene, the opportunities that 7.2 is going to bring you look fantastic, and it looks like one of the best times to start. There are a few things in particular during the latest 7.2 live letter that pushed me to this thought, so my name is Tenelin, and let's get into them. First off, a very important PSA, as well as the biggest reason I think it's a great opportunity to be an on-content crafter or gatherer. And when I say on-content, I mean at the highest level. You have the newest Everseeker's gear, you have your gear melded, you're ready to craft the new combat gear that's going to be coming out for the Savage Raid. One of the biggest changes that they are making is that new crafted combat gear will be available to craft on the release of 7.2, which is on March 25th. That is 1 week before the release of the Savage tier. Now, as far as I'm aware, they've never done this before. Normally, the release of the Savage tier and the release of the new gear happen on the exact same day. That causes crafters and gatherers having to scramble and get the gear crafted as fast as possible for those early Savage Raiders. With this new scheduled format, which they have confirmed to be the new normal release cadence from here on out, we will have an entire week to be able to gather, craft, and sell that raid gear before the release of the raid. Now, this is probably a controversial take, but I absolutely love this. It removes a lot of the weird time and knowledge restrictions, which will hopefully allow more people to be able to craft it. Now, I know those hardcore crafters and gatherers that make a lot of their guild during this time are probably going to be upset with this change, but I think overall, this will allow way more people to get into the crafting and gathering scene and not feel as stressed out with the very fierce competition and very strong, stressful time of trying to get all of that gear crafted as fast as possible. Having 1 week is not going to be that much of a game changer. It just gives you a little bit of a time cushion to be able to get more gear crafted up. I think in general, the prices of the gear will go down, but I think more players will get the gear because of this. The remove of that time crunch allows a lot more people to gear up, which on the other side, for Savage tier players, should be really good, especially if you are a PF player. And it makes it so in general, you would expect the general player base to be a little bit more geared and ready to go for that Savage Raid, which should hopefully make things a little bit easier in the early weeks of progging. It removes a lot of those small obstacles for a lot of players who weren't able to get up at the wee hours of the drop of the patch to be able to start crafting and get gear together for their friends or themselves or even to sell. And it allows way more people to have the opportunity to gather and craft their own gear, which for me, I'm a massive fan of. That's what my channel is all about. I want as many people as possible to be able to enjoy the aspect of crafting and gathering in Final Fantasy XIV because I find it very fun. This has actually been a change that I've wanted for a very long time, so it makes me very happy to see this. So, if you are new to on-content release, crafting, and gathering, this is the fantastic time for you to jump into it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, as I'll be continuing to put out guides and videos that will help you make this gear once it's released on March 25th. Now for the other players, if you aren't all level 100s and ready to go for this new Savage tier, don't worry. Cosmic Exploration is coming out, and we've just confirmed that the requirements are much lower than I ever expected. You'll only need to have completed Endwalker and have any of your Disciple of Hands or lands at level 10. Now, they didn't fully confirm as far as I could see whether or not you'll be able to level up your crafters and gatherers this way, but at the very least, you'll be able to participate in the content and earn rewards. I do suspect that you'll be able to level up similar to how Ishgard Restoration works, but we'll have to wait and see to be certain. It looks like they took inspiration and ideas for Cosmic Exploration from both Island Sanctuary and Ishgardian Restoration and sprinkled in a little bit of the Gathering Leaves at the very least into the mix, and that's shaping up to be what I think looks like an exciting piece of content. We're going to be starting on the moon with nothing constructed and building it up to a colonized space base, including our very own space suit. Everything that you gather in Cosmic Exploration will have its own separate inventory, so no need to worry about the mess that the Diadem and Guardian Restoration created. They really took that aspect of Island Sanctuary to heart, which was one of my favorite pieces of Island Sanctuary. We've got a sleek UI with our own personal tablet that you'll be using to do everything that's Cosmic Exploration related, and this is where you'll be able to start and turn in your own solo tasks. These are the Cosmos missions. Now, Yoshi P does one of these here. It's one of the mining ones, and it feels very much like a Gathering Leave. He said that these are the very simple pieces of content that we can do, but he didn't really mention if there's a limited amount that we're allowed to do or what the restrictions on doing these are. I'm not sure if you can just continually farm these over and over, or if you get a daily or weekly allowance. We'll have to wait and see on that. But once he did complete this, he got some currency, and honestly, I loved the music of the accepting and the completing of these Cosmos missions. Next up, they showed off the alerts. These are a cooperative timed emergency event that randomly happens while in the zone. This one looks to require any of these 5 jobs up at the top here, and this bar we have to fill up by completing certain tasks. Now, this is a cooperative event, so he mentioned that doing your own missions during this will get you personalized rewards for completing those particular missions, but then as well, if the server meets the level of completion to fill the bar, you'll get additional rewards. Now, they didn't really show off exactly what the missions were going to be related to this, but I assume that some of them will be gathering related, as you have the miner up here, and they may be similar to the guild leaves. And then there's also some crafting ones, so they're probably requiring you to craft particular items and turn in for this emergency event. Now, this is where things got really interesting. Another type of event that they showed was the Mecha operations. In order to participate as the Mecha driver, you'll have to purchase one of the pilot tickets that are shown here by spending one of your currencies that you earn in Cosmic Exploration. You can register to be the Mecha operator, and they said that some of these events have up to 5 people that are selected to drive them. If you aren't selected, your ticket will be refunded for later use, so don't worry about wasting them if you're unselected. And as well, if you aren't selected or you don't have a ticket, you can still join into the operation on foot. You're sent over to this area, and they show off both the Mecha piloting, which I'm going to have playing in the back here, as well as the on-foot gathering, where you pull out this really big, ridiculous-looking drill to mine these ores. Essentially, this looks like you're taking out these crystals in a mining fate, which I'm really excited to see. I love the look of both the mech, as well as the massive drill that you're using if you're not in the mecha. You'll see that Yoshi P also uses one of these beams that shoots through a bunch of the crystals at once. It's either a built-up meter or you're randomly able to use this skill, but the goal is, what it looks like, to mine as many of these crystals as you can until we fill up the bar on the fate. Once you're done with your Mecha operations or your Cosmos missions or even the alerts, you'll have earned some currency to head over to the Loporit's Gambling Prize Wheel. Everybody loves a good gambling mechanic, right? They showed off a few prizes ranging from an armor coffer, an umbrella, and even confirmed that multiple new metallic dies would be available through here. Now here's Yoshi P doing the first spin of the wheel, winning the rare coffer and swearing it wasn't rigged. He then rolls another wheel that hits the star, which is apparently like a special roulette wheel that you get within the wheel so that you can roll again for some specialized prizes. This wheel looks like it has a lot more of the better prizes, so it's something that you probably do want to hit. We will have some special skills just for the Cosmic Exploration Zone, like a return that takes us back to the center of the area here. And as well, we're getting the quality of life feature because this is a sanctuary. Now, after you use sprint and your runtime runs out, you will be put into a jog, which is a slightly faster movement speed that lasts forever. They called it, I believe, Cosmo Jog for this in particular. Overall, it's just good quality of life to be able to move around in sanctuaries a lot faster, and that will be available for any sanctuary in the game. Now, we do have 2 different currencies that they showed off. They didn't really talk about what the Cosmo credits will be for, so I am curious to see that. The other one is for the Loporit's Gambling Wheel, and I believe the Mecha Pilot one as well. So overall, they showed off the 3 different types of missions. You have your Cosmos missions, the Mech Ops, and the Critical missions, which is that alert one, that's the Cooperative Work Together mission. Now, the one thing that wasn't touched on too much is the crafting system for this game mode, so I guess we'll have to wait and see what that entails. I very much hope that there is different difficulties of crafting, including up to an expert recipe, just because I think that would be fun. Now, onto the update. I was most curious to see how they would handle the high score system. I think the compromise that they made on this was a near-perfect solution to combating the issue with Ishgardian Restoration. It looks a little complicated, so I'll break it down simply here. Every other day, there is a 24-hour period, which all of the things that you do in Cosmic Exploration will increase your exploration initiative. Only on those days, every other 24 hours, will the high scores be calculated. Every other day is a rest day where there is no competing. You don't have to be on a particular class on any of these initiative days. Everything that you will do will be counted toward your score. Whoever has the highest score on their world for that 24-hour tally period will be awarded with a special status called the Star Contributor. This title lasts for 14 days after it's been granted. During those 24-hour periods, they did say you could speak with Scanning Way, who would tell you how you were doing on that particular day for the competition, and as well as there's a high scoreboard where you can see the previous 7 winners of the Star Contributor. So the Star Contributor Award will give you 3 main things, and all of them are purely flexes. You'll have a hologram of your character displayed at the base camp of your world, along with 6 other winners of the last 2-week period. Again, because it is every other day, in a 2-week period, there's only 7 winners. Your name will be on a bulletin board with those winners as well, as I mentioned. And finally, you'll have a unique visual effect on your character showing off that you're a Star Contributor. Now, this effect can be toggled off if you're not a fan. They showed off the hologram where you're able to actually change the pose of your character, and it looks like it is using the gear that you were either wearing at that moment or that you were wearing when you're 1. I'm not entirely too sure on how that's going to work, but they did have the Everseekers on the 2 characters in the back, and Yoshi P was wearing that new glam, which was his character in the front here. For the 2-week period after you've won, you'll keep all of those rewards, and you're unable to win again until that 2-week period is up. Now, overall, let's admit it, the rewards are a bit silly, but I think they're enjoyable and fun, and they also keep a level of balance to the game mode that doesn't just become dominated by those who are able to no-life the game. Ishgardian Restoration had some issues with how the high scores were, so I definitely understand their reservations with adding something here. I think the compromise is perfect. It still gives people a little bit of competitive initiative while allowing more people a fairer chance to win occasionally too. I'll definitely have to push for an early Star Contributor win though, so I hope to see you there to compete with me. And finally, I know this has been a lot, but the biggest surprise to me, the relic tools are going to be connected to Cosmic Exploration. There wasn't too much news outside of this slide with some very good looking tools, but they did make a point to reassure that you should pick up your tools as soon as Cosmic Exploration comes out. You don't even have to equip them to be able to start enhancing them, and it sounds like you're going to be increasing their item level by progressing through the Cosmic Exploration missions. This sounds like it might be an interesting new way to progress our tools instead of the standard gather or craft X amount of things. The first step, the moon, will be releasing on April 22nd in patch 7.21, and after that, we'll be getting a new world to explore with every single patch from here on out with Dawntrail. All of the numbered patches, probably the 7.31, 4.1, and 5.1. I hope you're as excited as I am for this content, and I can't wait to explore the cosmos with you all. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to give this video a like if you found it helpful. Subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all things Final Fantasy crafting and gathering related, and join my Discord if you want to hang out with a bunch of like-minded individuals. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the moon.